engineering, especially this Department of Electronics Engineering, for taking a lead and organizing this hackathon under the leadership of Khalid. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is now our privilege to invite an esteemed leader whose vision and guidance continue to inspire innovation, academic excellence, and societal impact across our institution. We are honored to welcome the Honorable Vice Chancellor of KJ Somaiya School of Engineering, Professor Ajay Kapoor, whose constant support for interdisciplinary learning and technology-driven initiatives has played a pivotal role in encouraging platforms like Agritech Hackathon. Sir, your presence today motivates young innovators to think beyond classrooms and create solutions for real-world challenges. With great respect, I now invite you to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you, everybody. It's really nice to see this hackathon here today, and I'll cover a couple of points. First of them is that about 2-3 weeks back, I had an opportunity of going and visiting PR. Now, as you can make out, I was born in North India and not far. It was a city, but then we also had some lands and all that. When I was young, I used to go to those farms. I'm quite aware. Looks like what
पोजीशन सेट कर दे
land
मैम एक बार
gives you. The important thing which I learned there was that KR and team worked with 20,000 farmers. 20,000 farmers. Now, think of one more thing. Farmers are not very rich people. Is there something somebody wants to say? Otherwise, please keep quiet as Dr. Ogrande answers. I don't really mind, but it probably disturbs everybody. So, if you see the opportunity that you all have to help that last person in the queue, God's grace on us, we are all doing well, we have a good life, but not many farmers. They have a very tricky, very difficult life. Through intervention of science, Vigyan, management, and your thinking can help them. How can it help them? I'll tell you one example, and I hope later on you're told about it. The group there is working on doubling the crop. So let's say in a farm, a farmer works, sugarcane is produced. I'm so happy to see sugarcane here. And you get whatever 30 tons out of an acre. What if you can make it 60? What if you can make it 100? Immediately the income doubles, and that is exactly what the team is working on. I talked to many farmers and they were shown, and most of them are saying that for about 30, 40 tons per acre, they are looking for about 80 tons per acre next year. That's a real change in their life. I can't forget, there was one farmer who already has doubled that yield. And he very proudly took all of us, old person, very proudly showed us his new house. That house has 8 bedrooms, 1 lift, 1 massive picture hall, theater, and Kantara's poster was displayed outside. Now, that is the change that you can make to a person's life. If I take that house and put it in Melbourne next to my house there, you won't make a difference. Same, absolutely the same. So by your work, you can make that kind of real change to a person's life. Of course, if yield is doubled, we all benefit. You get more food, you get cheaper food. You can export more. The country becomes more independent, Viksit Bharat, and that dream can be fulfilled. But that work by all of us is very needed. Now, how I see this whole thing, I'm an engineer myself, I've done a lot of research, I've done a lot of this kind of work touches my heart. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I used to do this like small work. Still, I love doing that. No, farms and farmers, they are not operating in one area. It's a very complex life they have. So my advice to my young students would be, look at everything. I saw there that when crop comes, suddenly you find that everybody needs people who can cut the crop, load it on a trailer, send it to a place and sell it. How are you going to suddenly find so many people? You don't. So suddenly the wages go up 3 times more and you don't get people. So crop is there, but there are not people who can cut it. Can you design something? And there are many things. For cane, those choppers are there, but nobody uses them. So I asked, why not? They said, sir, if you take this particular area, generally I find this is one of the farmers who is quite well off, 50 tons. But if I use mechanical, then the crop that I get is maybe about 30, 40 tons. So what is going on there? Where is that being lost? It's a good problem to solve. You solve 2 things in one go. Dependency on labor, cutting it at the right time when the yield is maximum, the quality of cane is the best, but no wastage. Other issue, it's all driven by the whole psychology, sociology, the whole village ecosystem. So, as you very correctly mentioned, that it's a very complex thing. So don't think, why are you not doing it? It's not only technology that needs it. Take up of that technology. The many factors go into that. So to my young students, look into those factors also. Like mechanical crop cutting equipment is all available. Why are people not using it? Very easy to blame. Oh, they don't want technology. No, they do want technology. They're very happy to use iPhones and very fancy phones. If something gives them more money, why are they going to say, no, I will not use it? There is something. Try to find that out rather than, oh no, they are not literate, so they can't use. No, they are very literate, they're very clever, they're very wise. So go there, solving that problem, not finding an excuse that this is why they are not learning, so we can't do anything for them. No, you can. You are young people, you will connect very well with them. You'll be able to find out all problems because your brain is very open. It's not typed brain like many of us after 40, 50, 60, 70 years of working have. Yours is very fresh, very open mind. Go there with open mind. Go there with solving that problem. Don't go there, I want that equipment and that equipment is going to be my paper and all that. Go there to solve that problem, that farmer's problem, that village's problem, that country's problem. If it's useful, you will become famous. You will have a lot of satisfaction in your heart. You see the lady on the left-hand side. She drove it for her passion, not because she wanted to do that, okay, I want to be very famous. Fame comes, fame follows, okay. I must congratulate the team here for doing such a wonderful job and really excited and thrilled that more people applied than you could admit here. So desire is there and I am very happy and very grateful and my thanks, my congratulations to all. Unfortunately, I have some more meetings I'll have to go, but I'm requesting everybody to just give me a brief of this. This is an area very close to my heart. Okay. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, sir. We now turn to a leader whose work has fundamentally shaped modern Indian agriculture. With over 4 decades at ICAR IARI, our chief guest, Dr. MC Kharagwal, is a pioneer in mutation breeding. His legendary chickpea varieties were the world's first direct-use micromutants, bringing resilience and yield to farmers' fields.
A former president of the Indian Society of Genetics and Plant Breeding and respected IAEA expert, his contributions have been recognized with national awards, including an Outstanding Contribution Award from the Vice President of India.
In a gathering dedicated to agricultural innovation, there is no greater inspiration. We are truly honored to have you with us, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming our chief guest, Dr. M.C. Kharakwal, to share his insights with us.
Shubh Sakal, and here is a person from a remote village in Uttarakhand, very close to Nainital, and my native place is made very famous by Jim Corbett. I am sure that many of you might have read that book, Man-Eaters of Kumaon. So I come from Champawat, where Jim Corbett actually killed several man-eaters. And from Champawat to Nainital, the famous place where I did my graduation and post-graduation in botany. So I am actually a man of botany, then landed at IARI, or the Indian Agricultural Research Institute, popularly we call Pusa Institute at New Delhi. And as was mentioned, I spent 40 plus years there, only in one institute, and I was so lucky that I could continue to work in one crop and one, you can say, subject of mutation breeding. And I didn't, you can say, I didn't get any chance to become head director, associate director, vice chancellor, or anything. But my varieties in chickpea made a good contribution, and I am known because of that hard work. I can take pride in that without going to get any, big positions. My message to the hackathon students here is, if you work hard, you really work hard, you may not get the results immediately, but one day, certainly, your work will be recognized. And even if it is not recognized, I'll take it that way, even if it is not recognized, you have your self-satisfaction. Okay, you have done your best. Whether somebody likes it or doesn't like it, you will have that satisfaction. And that satisfaction has actually brought me here. I'm so happy and I'm rather overwhelmed that a person who didn't hold any big positions is today here the chief guest. It is only because of my chickpea varieties and my contribution in mutation breeding, which is recognized internationally. That I can tell you that if you work hard, you may not get recognition in your own institute, your own state, even in your own country. But the world is not blind. If you work hard, your work will be recognized somewhere, and International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, they recognize my work in the sense that I was invited as a plenary speaker in one of the world's biggest conference on induced mutations in 2008 at IAEA headquarters, Vienna, Austria. And that was my, you can say, best lifetime achievement award. Getting that plenary lecture delivered in the presence of more than 450 world leaders of mutation breeding, coming from more than 80 countries all over the world. And I was given the coveted position of delivering the plenary lecture, which I delivered for more than an hour. And my lecture was not on my work or my chickpea varieties. The organizer said, Dr. Kharakwal, we don't want to hear your chickpea work here. Your contribution in mutation breeding is so wide that we are requesting you to please summarize the global status of mutation breeding in the world and how it has contributed to the food security of the world. So that was a pride moment for me. And just to tell you that afterwards, after my retirement, I was at Delhi. I spent more than 50 years in Delhi. Only since last 3 years, I have moved to Pune, and now I'm a Punekar. So, and after retirement, as usually it happens, most of the people simply get back. They say, okay, बहुत कर लिया, क्या करना है? But my spirit is actually very different. I thought that if I have work and if I know something in my own field and related fields, why not try to at least share that knowledge with the young minds, young students, or even farmers, wherever possible. So I have made it a hobby and passion. Whenever I get a chance to deliver a lecture, I try to deliver lecture on various different topics, not only on mutation breeding. As today, later on you will see there is one lecture, this is on global status of cloning technology. I don't know how many of you are fully aware, but it's very, very interesting topic, very popular topic. I am sure that you will like to know it. It is just for general knowledge. It is not that you have to know each and everything about cloning technology. Now, again, one point I will tell you, I don't know how much time I will be having here, because this program is a very short one. I am known as a marathon speaker. Whenever I go for a lecture, I say minimum 1 hour is the minimum slot I need. Otherwise, I can talk even for 1.5 or 2 hours on the topic. And that is how actually you make people understand. Those who are interested in the subject, they will understand when you tell them in their own language, the way they can understand it. Now, right now, perhaps we don't have that much time, so I am just restricting myself out of compulsion, you can say. Just now, Professor mentioned about Gen Z. Everybody knows nowadays about Gen Z. But do you know what are the other generations? I am sure many of you will not know. And today I am giving a bird's eye view of the generations. Because everybody nowadays talks, okay, I am getting the new version of Apple, or I am getting a new version of this thing, laptop, computer, all that. But in our own human generations, what are the generations? I'll just tell you very briefly. The first generation is called greatest generation. Now this greatest generation is the people who were born between 1901 and 1927. So you can imagine the greatest generation is only up to 1927. And I am sure that none of the greatest generation people are present in this hall. Then the second generation is called the silent generation. That is from 1928 to 1945. Again, I doubt if there are people here from this silent generation, born before up to 1945. Then the third generation, the very famous one actually, is called baby boom generation. Baby boom generation, this generation is born between 1946 to 1964. And I can proudly now tell you, I am a baby boom generation man standing before you. Then comes nowadays the famous people, Generation X. Generation X actually is 1965 to 1980. You can note down these things. If you are just, you don't need to tell anybody your age. You can simply say, I am a Gen X man, I am a silent generation person, I am a baby boom generation, like that. Then after that it is Generation Y. Generation Y is 1981 to 1996. So this is Generation Y. And I am sure majority of the people sitting here in this hall must be belonging to generation Y, 81 to 96. Then comes the young, vibrant generation of Gen Z, what we call Gen Z, which is now internationally famous for good reason as well as for the bad reason. But we should always look for the good reasons only. So Gen Z actually is, many people confuse, what is this Gen Z? The people who were born from 1997 to 2010. So only the people who were born from 97 to 2010 really belong to Gen Z generation. And after Gen Z generation, you can say, we have one Alpha generation, generation Alpha. Alpha is 2011 to 2024, only last year. Then the latest generation we have in the world, you can say, which we have named as Generation Beta. Beta means 2025 to 2039. So we don't have anybody perhaps here from Generation Alpha and Beta. They will be coming up later on. But maximum people we have here, Gen Z and Gen X, Y and Z. So this is regarding the generations. You should know that this is the kind of generation we know nowadays. Having talked about generation, just take it lightly, not very big science like that, but that's an interesting thing. Because the time is very short perhaps, so I will not give a lot of details here. I can just tell you that this Agri Hackathon is based for, Agritech Hackathon. So agriculture, technology, and then the hackathon. What agriculture has done till now, you can say my generation or the people when we worked at, say in agriculture, I worked at IRI, USA Institute, the place where the Green Revolution actually took birth. And it is the division of genetics at IRI where I was working for so long that this was the division where the Green Revolution seeds were born. And this Green Revolution really made our country self-sufficient in food. What was happening earlier, if I don't go to great details, those who are a bit senior here, they will be knowing there was a time when Lal Bahadur Shastri ji was our Prime Minister and we had such a big problem of food in the country. We were getting red wheat grains from USA. They were not actually fit even for their animals. But because we were having a starving situation, somehow we had to eat something. So we were getting their shipments of PL480 red wheat. It came to India, and then of course our scientists worked at IRI, and we improved those red grain wheats to amber color or the wheat color, and then we increased the production of wheat. The situation was when the country took independence. I am just giving you some idea because you are all young, bright minds. You should be knowing what was our condition, where we are today, and where you have to take it to 2047, the Viksit Bharat, the objective which actually is in front of us, all of us. So I'm just giving you some idea. Rice and wheat in 50 and 51, 1950-51 year, we had only production of hardly 27 million metric tons, 27. And now in 23-24, we had 322 million metric tons. Just imagine such a big leap of production in wheat and rice. Similarly in pulses, similarly in oil seeds, I am not giving details because I know that the time is short. We have made 3 to 4 times increase in the production and productivity of these crops, whereas the area did not increase. The main point is we could not increase the area within the same area or even in the less than that area, we have increased the production because of the new technology. So the green revolution technology came to India in a big way, and this landed our country into self-sufficiency. Just wheat again, I am giving an example. 1950, 51, it was only 6.46 million metric tons, only 6.46. And then total food production was that time only 50 million metric tons. And today, in 2023-24, I already told, 332 million metric tons. So more than 6 times increase in wheat production. So similarly, this is all the result of our farmers, our Shetkari people, the hard work done by everybody in, say, collaboration. There are all kinds of subjects involved in this. It is not only the breeder, there are pathologists, there are entomologists, there are agronomists who are contributing, then only your crop will be finally good. And this resulted, just to give you an example, as already told, in 1951, we had only 6.46 million metric tons of wheat. But after the Green Revolution, which was actually held in 1968, you can say, a stamp was released by Indira Gandhi ji. I will be delivering maybe some of these things in my lecture if possible. So a stamp was released by Indira Gandhi ji, who was our Prime Minister at that time, because from 6.46 million tons, in 68 we had 17 million tons, almost 3 times. This was a big revolution, that's why it is called Green Revolution. And after Green Revolution we had wheat revolution, white revolution in the sense of milk. We had yellow revolution in terms of oil seeds. Then we had blue revolution in terms of fishes and fisheries. So many revolutions have taken place, and our productivity has increased many folds. And now in 2025, when we are standing here, I am one actually odd person to tell you that now the Gen Z or XY generation, they are always talking about AI. But the people of my generation are really not very well equipped for that. But we can always try something. If not too much, we can always be in touch with our young people to learn little more on that. And we should not be shy in that. Many times I am taking help of my sons, even grandsons, to tell me something new if they are related to AI or something else. Although I am not using any AI, I am a conventional person. So, but we have to keep pace with the times. This is what I am saying, that we have to keep pace with the times. So I am not going to the details of many things here because that will be taking too much time. Just to give you some example, again, for general information, what a big revolution is being taken place in our own country in terms of, you all might have heard genomics, genome editing, gene editing. These are the fab words nowadays. Those who are doing agriculture particularly, doing biotechnology, they know these terms very well. And recently, just it is for you all, in May 2025, India released 2 rice varieties which were actually developed through gene editing. One variety is Pusa rice TST1, which was released from IRI, again my institute. Another variety is DRR Dhan 100, Kamla. So these were the 2 varieties of rice released by the Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan ji, claiming as the world's first genome edited rice variety. Genome edited means their genome has been edited. I will not have perhaps the liberty of going to the details of that. Just to tell you, not only in plants, what is happening, what a great advancement is happening in this case. I will just tell you that, again, just to mention here, Viksit Bharat, when we talk about 2047, what we need that time. And the people sitting here competing for Agritech Hackathon can always take that as one of the objective of your work or lifetime experience, objective, because it is you who will be there in 2047 when we celebrate the Viksit Bharat. We may not be there, but the whole thing lies on your shoulders that you have to work for that. And what we need, just to tell you a brief idea, India's population today is 1.4 billion. 140 करोड़ की बात करते हैं और 2047 में 160 करोड़ की हमारी पॉपुलेशन होगी, तो 20 करोड़ एक्स्ट्रा माउथ होंगे जिनको फीड करना है। लैंड एरिया अभी हमारे पास एग्रीकल्चर करने के लिए 0.61 मिलियन से हेक्टेयर्स है, जो कि बाद में घट जाएगी। ओनली 0.49 will be the area hectares. Why? Because of the urbanization. Lot of land throughout the country is being covered by the concrete jungles. Of course, they are necessity. And when I entered this morning, when I was seeing around Somaya, this is my first visit to this. Although I have been coming to Chembur area very often earlier because I had a very big collaboration with the Park BARC. But this is something surprising that within the Chembur area you have such a big concrete structures are there and big universities there. So food grains, right now I told you 332 million metric tons we have production today. But what we need in 2047, 450 million metric tons. Imagine. Then similarly, rice and wheat, right now we have 251. We need 333 in 2047. Yes, conclude. I knew that I'll be getting this notice. See, the problem is young students or young fellows, if you are giving some information to somebody, unless the information is, properly decimated, of no use, this is what I call. But anyway, I'll take maybe 2-3 minutes more because this is a rare chance for me. I have given an example, gene-edited rice varieties. This is a message you can note down, students can note down this. The first gene-edited rice varieties of India, Pusa TST1, and then the next one is TRR 100 Kamala. These are the rice varieties. Something very interesting to you all, जीन एडिटिंग, अभी मैं जो बाद में लेक्चर दूंगा उसमें भी काफी कुछ होगा क्लोनिंग वाले में। जीन एडिटिंग इज नॉट अलाउड इन द ह्यूमंस, उनमें अभी अलाउड नहीं है। वर्ल्ड का कन्वेंशन बना हुआ है दैट नोबडी विल बी डूइंग एनी जीन एडिटिंग इन ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, बट देयर इज एन एग्जांपल फॉर दैट। इन 2018 one Chinese scientist, his name is He Jiankui, he actually produced twin sisters which are gene edited. Their names are Lulu and Nana. So you can note down this. Lulu and Nana are beautiful. This is just only for representation. These two sisters are gene edited twin sisters. And it was done actually, it was announced, but there was a big uproar for that how could you do it and all that. The scientist was jailed, 4 crore rupees equivalent actually fine was put him. He was jailed for 4 years because it is not allowed. But his intention of doing this was not bad. What happened? The parents who came to him, just nowadays you all know IVF clinics are there. He also had such a clinic where he was doing gene editing. So the parents were having a problem of no child, and one of the parents was having, the father was having HIV positive. So they came to him and told him, we want a baby, but our problem is like this. Can you help us? He said, okay, let me try. He tried and produced these twin sisters, without in fact giving lot of information to the parents also what he is doing, because it's a very complicated science. But this became a big furore in the world, so it was actually banned. Then this was on the human being, just to cut short. Again, taking a leaf from that, that what India has achieved, not only in plants, even in animals, in biotechnology, gene editing, by cloning in 2012, one lamb, Noori, named as Noori, was actually produced by a university in Srinagar, Sokwast. But recently, in 2025, this is the latest, they have produced a lamb by gene editing. By gene editing, a lamb has been produced by, again, the same university. And then, of course, there are so many examples of cloning where I will give you great details in my lecture later on. So this is just to tell you that we have done, we are doing, and the world is marching ahead very, very rapidly in science and technology. The last example I am giving you is very, very fascinating, laughing also. Can you believe or can you imagine that there is a baby born out of parents who both are male? Can you imagine that? Both parents, not mother and father, both are only dads, but a baby is born. And this is the latest example of December 2025. It is not in humans, it is actually a mice has been produced, mouse you can say, a mice has been produced by two male mices by doing gene editing. So it is written actually how nice it looks. Having two loving dads is one thing. Having two loving dads is one thing, but having two biological dads is quite another. Yet, against all odds, researchers have managed to create mice whose DNA you all know, DNA comes entirely from two males only. The results are both fascinating and unsettling, because how could people do this? It is not very simple. Can you imagine? And I will be telling you in great details. Now this can be done. अभी तक जो नॉर्मल रिप्रोडक्शन की बात हम सभी जानते हैं, ये एक मेल फीमेल हैं, उनसे मेटिंग से बेबी बॉर्न होता है. लेकिन अभी मैं जब आपको क्लोनिंग का लेक्चर दूंगा तो मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि किसी की कान की सेल से, किसी की पूंछ की सेल से, या किसी के बेबी पैदा किए जा रहे हैं. एंड आई विल गिव यू लाइव एग्जांपल्स विद देयर नेम्स एंड अदर थिंग्स. सो दिस इज द रैपिड progress in science where we all have to work hard. And I had a lot of things to tell you, but I know that the time will not permit for that. Maybe sometimes later on, if I get a chance, already told you that I am a marathon speaker for that matter. I will be happy to deliver lectures here if I get a chance and talk in details with the young minds. It is not necessary that you have to be from agriculture or biotechnology. The topics are of general use. See, today, three things. Rice to gene-edited varieties. In mice, a mice is born out of two male parents. This is the message. And there are many others like that. So, and India has made rapid progress in food production, but we have a big target for 2047 when we talk about Viksit Bharat. So wish you all the best, young minds, and all the best to you. Let me tell you, again, it's my hobby, as I already told you. You all are welcome to be in touch with me. I am really, really feeling just like Gen Z being in your company. And I really love that. I am inside. I am a baby boom generation man, but my inside is just like Gen Z. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was very interesting. As we prepare to move from ideas to execution, to deliver the keynote speech, we have two distinguished voices. With over 15 years, my apologies, I request the esteemed dignitaries to kindly take the seat in the audience as before the keynote speech. Thank you.
पकड़ तो ये 2 मिनट पकड़ 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 स्टेबल नहीं है स्टेबल नहीं है
As I was saying, with over 15 years pioneering sustainable agriculture, he leads hydronics at High Media Laboratories, driving innovation in hydroponics and agri-technology across India. His experience perfectly aligns with our mission today. And this I am speaking of course, is Mr. Manish Rao. We also have Dr. Vishal G. Warke. He is the Director in Research and Development at High Media Laboratories. With over 2 decades of expertise in cell culture, immunology, plant tissue culture, and advanced biotechnology. A renowned researcher and innovator, he has led pioneering developments in biosimilars, diagnostics, and sustainable agri-biotech solutions. So please join us in welcoming these two distinguished guests.
हेलो किसी को जाने गेट बंद कर दो उधर
Thank you everybody for coming here. My talk is a little long, but I will try to squeeze it in 35 minutes, 40, 45? Okay. So the most important thing in Agri today is to get money into it. So I once attended a special event by the CM of Maharashtra, and he outlaid the dream or vision of where he wants to take the state. And it was a $1 trillion plan. In the $1 trillion plan, 500 to 650 billion was allocated to the services industry, IT and all these things. Around 250 billion was allocated to manufacturing and 100 odd billion was allocated to agriculture. When I heard this, I thought it should be the other way around. Because if 60% of the population is engaged in agriculture, we actually need the nation and the state, at least the entire nation has to be aligned, plus our state has to be aligned. The vision has to be that 60% of the population should be made to deliver a much larger contribution to the vision of $1 trillion economy. I hope things are changing. This was 5-6 years ago. But essentially what we have seen is that there is dearth of funding. Now all of you are here, you are going to develop or come up with good ideas to give solutions to problems. But the basic problem that plagues agriculture is not much money is allocated to it. We are a $4 trillion economy. By Viksit Bharat, we will touch 25 trillion. So we have 22 years. The bioeconomy of India is today around $165 billion. You must be aware of this. And if a nation has to be developed, if you want to call a nation as Viksit or developed, 10% of the economy of that nation has to be the bioeconomy. Because bioeconomy is like the spine. It supports. It's the scaffold or the framework on which everything is resting. Because at the end of the day, we are humans, right? And as Sir pointed out, the generations, so I feel privileged to be an X-Man, like the X-Men. So I'm in the X generation. Anyway, so, but essentially life is biology, and what needs to happen is the relevance for humans. Okay, so the talk is coming up, and so Manish, I will be saying next many times. Excuse me for that. So I have tried to put, so it's a sharing, okay? I want to share what we in high media are doing. Okay, I'll get to the other part later about economy, money, and how we are trying to address it. So in my personal capacity as a director in the company, I'm trying to do things out of the box. I'm working with a lot of startups. I'm funding some startups. I have invested in some. And what we are trying to do in our company is to provide a platform. Because there are startups in this country, around 9,000 startups in the biospace. And I was telling you about the bioeconomy, right? So around 2.5 trillion. So 10% of 25 trillion is 2.5 trillion. From 165 billion to 2.5 trillion, it's almost 20x. So you can imagine that we would be seeing a 20-fold growth in the bioeconomy of this nation in the next 20 years. And agriculture is a part of the bioeconomy. So you are at the cusp of a momentous transition, and the most happening time in 1,000 years of this nation. We were the Sone ki Chidiya, right? Golden bird. And the 1,000 years of this nation history, we have seen a lot of trauma happening. And when the British left, we were literally beggars. What was once a 25 or 30% of the global economy, India's contribution to the global GDP was, or economy was 25 to 30%. We were reduced to 3% by the British when they left. So from there, now we have to pull it back up. And that last lap of the baton race is in your hands. So you are the most privileged nation to whom 1,000 years of people who have gone by are looking forward to. It's a privilege and an onerous responsibility. And one more thing I want to add, I always say this wherever I go. I see that a lot of the young generation today, not just the young, even the elder ones, India as a nation, we are getting out of shape. So people should incorporate some form of exercise in their lives. Either do yoga, pranayam, or some physical activity is needed. Because we just don't want to be a Viksit nation and be the capital of the world for diabetes and hypertension, which we are, unfortunately. But I'm just adding this, so please do something about it, is what I would like to say. Next, please. I'm going to quickly go over some introduction and 5 key topics: hydroponics, agri-automation, soil testing, auto-nutri, which is a microsensor based testing, and soil microbiome rejuvenation. So, the global agriculture towards 2050, 10 billion world population, 755 million food hunger cases, 930 million tons of food is being wasted today. Right? This is something very important. We have to pay attention to this. There is a 30%, there would be a 30% drop in water availability, and it could be even more precipitous. At least 2 degrees Celsius average rise in temperature. This is going to create havoc. Actually, people are waiting for Greenland to kind of melt, the North Pole, the caps, polar caps to melt, so that they can start using it as a navigable waterway, so that they can go and dig and remove all the minerals and everything. But the sea levels are going to rise, and lot of coastal areas are going to go under the water. It's going to be quite chaotic in the next 20-30 years. 50% of India faces extreme high water stress. In fact, if you look at the UN information charts, India is one of the most water stressed or starved nations in the world. It is stressed today, but starvation will happen because 140 crore will go to 160 crore and water sources are depleting. Rivers in this country which never went dry, now many times are dry in summer. There is no water flowing in them. This is a very sad thing. A lot of things need to be fixed. We need to fix the soil, the forests. So many things have to be done. So, next please. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of the land in our nation is degraded. So, India is small in landmass, but it is the most densely farmed country in the world. No other country in the world has this kind of an arable land ratio, which we have. And it's a make or break situation now. 3 to 3.5% organic carbon is needed in the soil to call it soil. If you don't have enough organic carbon in the soil, it becomes sand. And today, the organic carbon on average in the nation is 0.5% or less, average. And this is very alarming and very bad. I mean, there is no difference between sand and soil. It's just the carbon basically, right? Which you can actually take sandy kind of soils and convert it into proper soil by adding organic carbon and the microbiome to it. Solutions to tackle the situation: immediate, intermediate, long term. Immediate. So what we came up with, our thought process was, okay, farming is the crux, it is very much needed. But today, we have stories, right? It's all over. There was, let's say, a hailstorm and a farmer, these are actual stories. I heard of this, of a farmer in South Maharashtra who committed suicide, and he had a standing crop of pomegranate and he was about to sell it. But there was a hailstorm, and in that one night of hailstorm, his entire crop was destroyed. And that farmer was heartbroken and distraught, and he was also facing financial ruin. He actually committed suicide. So this is a very big problem, we all know this. So one thing if we can do in agriculture is, if we can put a roof over the head of a farm, if you can cover the farm, it makes a big difference. So in terms of technology, we started with hydroponics. So in high media actually, so I am a medical doctor. I am not a soil or an agri person. I have done MBBS from SciEN, and then I did PhD in cell biology. So I'm a cell biologist, a stem cell and cell biology person. But because it's a family business and we are all scientists in the family, plus we have a lot of wherewithal, lot of tools at our disposal. So we have also gotten into agriculture where we can make a difference and bring about a change. So that's why my division got into hydroponics, because I thought if we can give the farmer a roof over his head, it's like a stepney. If you have a puncture, what you do is you put a stepney, but you don't keep driving on the stepney, right? You fix the punctured tire and then you remove the stepney and put the tire back. So in that way, hydroponics, I would say, for a nation like ours, is a stepney technology. It is needed. It is very good. And we should have it. A large farm can have a certain part dedicated to hydroponics, where they can do intensive farming. Because in farm, what we can look at is the area, right? How do you talk acre, hectare? But In hydroponics with greenhouse, not just hydroponics, even in a regular greenhouse, you can convert a square foot or an area into cubic volume. That makes a big difference. In half an acre of a hydroponic greenhouse, today we are growing 50,000 plants, 50,000 strawberry plants. That's a big number. I mean, it's 5 times to 10 times, right? Correct me. Yes, 5 times of the actual acreage. So now it's in the volume phase. And I will show that as we go forward. And a lot of IoT AI is needed today. The intermediate is soil nutrient testing with agronomy advisory and the soil mapping. I will get to that too. Long term is the soil microflora. Dust thou art, to dust thou shalt return. We have come from the soil, and to the soil we'll go back, right? After we die, everything goes back in the soil. So if the soil goes bad, we can't be healthy. In fact, the Panchamahabhutas, do you know Panchamahabhutas? Bhumi Rapo Nalo Kham, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kham, earth, water, fire, air, and Akash or Kham, space. In Bhagavad Gita, you know, there is a shloka which says about the 8 parts of nature, the eight components of this creation. Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, those are the top 3. But earth, water, fire, air, and Akash, these are the basic 5. Today, all Panchamahabhutas are polluted. Earth, polluted. Runoffs, pesticides, excess fertilizer, all microplastics. Water, polluted. Again, the same list. Air, polluted. We know what the AQI is, what we are breathing. Our life is getting cut short because all of us are smoking 3 cigarettes per day at least, depending on the AQI. Winter is very bad. Again, the fire element is polluted. I won't go into that. It's a different discussion, kind of a little spiritual and yogic. And the Kham, the Akash also is polluted because of radio frequency waves, all waves everywhere. We are actually drowning in a sea of electromagnetic radiation. It's very bad. I have some meters by which I measure all that, but that's a different topic. Maybe we can later discuss that. So essentially, we need to fix the Panchamahabhutas, and it starts with the soil. If we don't fix the soil, there is no hope. Next, please. I'm sorry, I might exceed a bit, but I have so much that, please bear with me. So on the right, what you can see is a greenhouse. So here, this is in Igatpuri. So we have, High Media has a greenhouse there, half an acre right now. We have a 35-acre land parcel, and as you can see the repeat film playing, we have a 7-stack vertigrow structure, and in one pot we can grow 4 plants. So in a 3 square foot circle, you can actually grow 28 plants. So we have planted 28 strawberry plants. So this is intensive farming. This is an earlier picture of strawberries that we had done, the Indian and Western varieties. Now we have partnered with a Japanese company, and we have Haruhi and Sakura varieties of strawberries that we have gotten, and we have grown them. They are very sweet. One of the best strawberries ever that we have grown. The Brix value is extremely high, around 18, 20. So, and that's unheard of. So we will be bringing these to the market. And again, I get back to that point. See, what we have to do, all of us, is to bring money into agriculture. Because there is no money in agriculture, there are too many people at the bottom of the pyramid. Have you heard of this theory of fortune at the bottom of the pyramid by C.K. Prahlad? Professor C.K. Prahlad? Anybody heard his name? He was a professor, Indian professor in Harvard, okay? He is no more now. And anyway, it's a very good theory, and the basic population is always at the bottom of the pyramid. And as you go to the apex, the rich people, the ultra affluent, are at the top. So on the right, hydroponics. On the left, you can see one of the farms that we have set up. Technologies of hydroponics. So one thing I didn't mention was hydroponic, right? Hydros is water, ponos is labor. So you can actually do agriculture without soil. Soil is not needed. So there was a scientist called Gehrig. In early 1900s, he figured out that you can grow plants by just giving them 14 basic nutrients. NPK, you know the 14, right? NPK, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, boron, copper, zinc, manganese, molybdenum, cobalt, nickel, and then you have silica a little bit, and plus carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. If you just give these, the plants grow. And they did a lot of experiments and they found out that plants grow really well. So in hydroponic, that's what you are doing. You are basically taking balanced nutrients and you are giving it to the plants so that they're able to grow. And we were also talking of aeroponics before we came here. So we have some aeroponics also going on here, where we are misting the root zone with nutrients. Okay, please go ahead. So there is up to 98% water conservation. It's maintenance free. Very less maintenance is needed. You do need maintenance because of the greenhouse and all, but it's pretty standardized. You get an excellent quality product, very good economic viability. Initially, the investment cost is high, but once you break even, you make very good profit. And you can imagine, if you can grow 5 times the amount of crop in the same space, your economy of scale is much better. You can actually do your growth and agricultural work very close to the cities and in the cities. In US, Japan, in developed countries, people are using hydroponic, aeroponic technologies in the heart of the city to grow a lot of green leafy vegetables and such crops, which they are able to sell immediately. A lot of money is wasted and time is wasted and the produce gets spoiled because the farmer has to transport it over long distances. So the carbon footprint also goes up. So we have to also ensure the carbon footprint is controlled as we move forward. Pesticide free. So you can actually, so today hydroponics has a lot of demand because you can grow it without using pesticides. And the amount of pesticide that is in our foods is out of the roof. It's unimaginable. It's very, very high. And I mean, just as a anecdote, we are trying to bring the cancers and the toxic practices down. And on the other hand, we also develop monoclonal antibodies in our company. So pembrolizumab, nivolumab, we work with these and we have cloned and expressed these to treat cancers. Plus higher crop density, environment friendly. Next please. So I'm going over different topics now. The first I would like to show is a venture we have with a company called GrowLog. It's our partner, it's like a sister company. And this is what we realized. So competition and cooperation, same long words, but in today's world, instead of competing, we have to figure out how we can cooperate. That is where the whole secret lies. All of you have heard of Alibaba, Jack Ma? सुना है? हाथ ऊपर करो ना. Okay, nice, thank you. सबने सुना है? सर आजकल अलीबाबा 40 चोर नहीं मालूम होगा लेकिन जैक मा लोगों को मालूम है. So Tencent, Alibaba, you know, right? You know how much Jack Ma holds in his company? Stake? 4%. Why I'm saying this is, it's the time to grow something, collaborate, cooperate, rather than hold on to the stake and compete. Okay? So, affordable agri-automation products. Mushroom. So, Indo Farms, Polyhouse, open field farming. These are the 3 platforms on which you can do. Now, I won't go into all this. We will move forward. I would have loved to, but we'll move forward. India's largest holistic platform. That's what we are aiming to do to create modern farming. So essentially, there are 2 wings that we have in GrowLog. One is the harvest is sold, brought to the market. This is very important. So if you can come up with ideas where the farmer is able to sell his produce quickly. One of the biggest problems the farmer has is where to sell and how to sell. And they are forced to bring it to the mandi or the agents kind of squeeze them. So they are forced to give at a much lower price. So that some app for this is very good. Second thing is there is a Grow Easy app. This Grow Easy app does a lot of farm automation in which crop advisory and other inputs are available. Next please. So what is happening here in the center is the Grow OS or Grow operating system, and it uses the LoRaWAN technology. LoRaWAN is long range wireless area network. It has a range of up to 10 kilometers if it gets an open access. So in an open field situation, up to 10 kilometers, you can control that farm. It's a huge piece of land. So there are controls, monitors, advisory and sensors and optimization. All these different sensors are available. We'll move to the next. Can you play this? Just hold 1 minute, 1 minute. Before you play, just hold. So, India is an energy-starved nation. We need huge amounts of energy. We are importing billions of barrels of oil. The government is trying to move to 500 gigawatts of solar power in the next few years. I think maybe we have crossed it or we are close to it. I don't exactly know, but what I want to say is another form of energy the government is looking at is the biogas-based energy. So for this, there are many parts of land in India which are not so arable, not so fertile. So Napier grass is to be grown here, and it is happening now. With Napier grass, you can, with less water, in very bad patches of land, you can grow Napier grass and you can actually create biogas and generate electricity from it. So we have done a project with Reliance. It's a small project, pilot, 7 acres. Then the next is 300, and then the next is much larger than that, actually hundreds of hectares. So you can see how it's happening. The entire farm is centrally controlled. We can collect all kinds of data, humidity, wind, moisture. From here you can see how the central control controls the water pumps, the irrigation. So here, now the pump is turned on, you can turn it off, and all this actually Manish can do from the laptop there. We can control the farm in Jamnagar from here. All the controls are on our screen. We are just showing you a video now. It's quite complex and it's an excellent, well done job. Mr. Anand Ambani and Mr. Mukesh Ambani also visited the farm. They appreciated the work that we have done, and we are very thankful to them to support us to be able to showcase and deliver a pilot project like this. Because things like these are what are going to transform the nation. And I'm sure a lot of you have brilliant ideas, and you will also contribute in many ways to such things. The next thing I want to show is another company that we partnered with, Clonic Automation. And what they have done is they have a soil testing machine. You put soil in this machine, in 30 minutes, it will give you a readout of all the nutrients. Calcium, magnesium is right now not there because the government of India does not mandate it, but the other nutrients are there. Along with that, you can also test carbon. So, you can, anyway, we'll skip this, we'll go to the next. Current challenges, lots of issues today with soil testing. Accuracy is low, the throughput is low, the proximity is not so much because the soil testing labs are far away. So samples have to be sent there and there's a lot of problem. Again, information on agronomy is not available to the farmers. On the right hand side, you can see on the top, low information. So a lot of farmers overuse fertilizers just to be on the safe side, and also they are subsidized. So they are happy to use much more than what is needed. Plus pesticides. When the dealer tells the farmer's guy, bhai, you use 1 bottle or you use like 2 capfuls per liter, the fellow when he goes to the farm, he tells his assistant, 2 bola hai, 4 dal do. वो assistant 4 डालने के बजाय वो 8 डालता है. So people just swamp the crop with much more pesticide than is even recommended by the manufacturer. Okay, so such things happen, and so agronomy is needed. This machine can actually give a readout and an agronomy report. I will show later. Lack of education, and then 2.75 lakh crore is the subsidy government is giving. So government is propping up cheap inputs, which is a big drain on the exchequer. That's one. Second, it is damaging the environment, and it is damaging us. If you and we actually, if we take a blood sample and measure the amount of pesticide and all these residues, we'll be shocked. आप सब्जी मंडी में जाके कुछ भी नहीं खरीदोगे. Do you know this? All of us, maybe you don't, because I am the ex-guy, so I have more. We have 7 grams of microplastics in our brain. Did you know this? Did you know this? 7 grams of microplastic is there in our brain. In our body also it is there, that's different, but in the brain it is already there. 5 gram का एक चम्मच बनता है. एक चम्मच शक्कर डालते हैं ना अपन दूध में चाय में वो 5 ग्राम का चम्मच है, 1.5 चम्मच तो हमारे दिमाग में माइक्रोप्लास्टिक भरा है. So what is going to happen, we can imagine. So it's a mess. But anyways, so this is the Bhu Vision machine. 30-minute testing time, we can test 17 parameters, and this is now being converted into Farm 360, where, see, carbon capture is a very important thing. The carbon economy is going to be $25 trillion worth in 25 to 50 years, right? The green economy or the carbon economy. Carbon credits are important. So this machine can also measure the organic carbon, and there are many things that they have added to this machine. Many things, but I won't go into all that. Accuracy is very high. This is something unique. This technology is now on the government's soil health portal. There is a soil health card. This is actually from the internet, from the government's website. This is from the government's website. So what you can have here is you have the scheme progress, how the progress is there, that nutrient dashboard. Then you can look at the soil laboratory. Last one, and then success stories. Anyways, okay. Thanks. So this is how the readout comes, and you can test all these different components. Next, please. As you can see on the top, soil health card, Maharashtra, the year. So like this, you can actually drill down and select each town, village, where the machine is located, from where the reports are being generated. Anytime the farmer does the test, the report is relayed straight to the government's portal by wireless, because as sir said, everybody has a smartphone. People are using smartphones everywhere. They have technologies and they are using it. Next, please. This is how the report comes. What is important about this report is, as you can see in the center, even if the farmer cannot read and write, they get a smiley face if the results are good. If it's neutral, they get a neutral face, and they get a red face with an unhappy face if the results are out of whack, out of range. And it then gives a advisory. For example, it will tell paddy as to how much diammonium phosphate has to be added, and all these different urea and all that nutrients which are sold by the fertilizer company. The machine will give a readout and say you use only this much or only this much is needed. So can you imagine now, instead of overdosing, instead of just putting anything randomly, now the farmer will exactly know how much is to be used. So it will prevent a lot of underuse and overuse. Next, please. So these are different advantages. We'll skip this. Next, please. One thing I want to tell at the end, 2.75 lakh crore subsidy is being spent. Now, 15 to 20% easily can be saved on the subsidy. 55,000 crore rupees can be saved. And if this money is saved, and let's say the government brings this money into programs like what we are running here, hackathon, funding, because that is what is needed, right? Can you imagine if 50,000 crore from the subsidy is brought directly into such developmental programs? All of you with your ideas, if you get funding, if you get 1 crore, 5 crore, you can do magic with it. Next, please. Of course, that's for the government to decide, but I'm just throwing out an idea. If all of us get together as citizens of this nation and pitch, change can happen. Next, please. So this is the Auto Nutri. So I want to show this because we have collaborated with the Indo-German Science. So there is a consortium known as the IGSTC. That's the Indo-German Science Technology Consortium. Last year, the year before that, I think, no, it was last year. 50 years complete ho gaye iske. And I was to Germany to be a part of the panel. And what happens is, for agriculture, what can be done? So we looked at a technology platform known as Auto Nutri. Next, please. So what happens is, most farmers, when they are using fertilizers, they are just randomly using it. They take it like handful and they are throwing as they walk, or different ways, but it's not exactly metered and monitored. So we thought, can we come up with a device which will not take too much electricity, which can be run on a battery, which is very small, ultra small, can be fitted on the palm of your hand, portable, doesn't need much energy input, and can very accurately measure what is the N, P, K, calcium, all the salts and all the nutrients, primary, secondary, and the micronutrients. So the German institute that was working with us is I am Fraunhofer. So like IITs, there are 70 plus Fraunhofer institutes in Germany. Like IITs, so Fraunhofers, and this at IM Mainz, this institute, their specialization in micronization of sensors. So if you have to test soil, for example, going back to the Blue Vision case, you have a large soil testing lab, large machines, each doing different spectral testing or mass spectroscopy and all these things. But now we shrunk it into the small Blue Vision machine, which can go to the farmer and it can do it colorimetrically, spectral method. In the auto nutri, what the Germans did, they micronized the sensors. And to start with, NPK and calcium have been added. So now a very small fluidic based microsensor device can be kept at the farm, and if the cost effectivity is there, then it can be made in lakhs of units, and it can be deployed on the farm where they can actually measure what is being added in the nutrient tank and what is also being run off. If you have some water which is washing away or getting run off, you can even measure that. Next please. So this is how, now this was when we went to Germany and the work they have done there, they are showing how they have micronized the sensors. Next please. I would have loved to show each of these things, but I think she has brought the chit for me to stop. So anyways, next please. नहीं इतना भी मत भगाओ भाई. So now is the last part of the presentation, and so it's the last part, so you can see we have to let nature heal itself. Okay, the best way, the best advancement is to use nature's wisdom, which is evolved over millions of years of evolution. So we have to actually take the thing to its status quo, or the milieu interior has to be rejuvenated with the microbiome. Next please. So soil rejuvenation, there is a lot of soil degradation that has happened. Please, next please. So we have to fix soil nutrition, organic carbon and the microflora. The microflora is very important. So as you can see, there is a conventional approach and there is a new approach. Conventional approach is a reductionist and a holistic approach. At the end of the day, you are still going to look at the microbiome at the bottom. But if you look at the new approach, what you can do is you can actually have the right organisms in the soil to come back. See, for millions of years, lot of bacteria and microbes have been growing in the soil. India was forest all over, right? 40,000 tigers roamed this country just less than 100 years ago. So if you scoop up one spoonful of soil, it has billions of microbes. Today it is in millions, it's very less. Do you know which is the largest organism, living organism? Largest? Do you know? Can anybody guess? It is actually a fungus. How large it is, do you know? 10 kilometers, 10 square kilometers. This fungus, its rhizopia and its mycelia have spanned out into the soil, into the earth for 10 kilometers. So this is what nature is. But we have plowed everything, we have tilled everything, we have added too much of chemicals to it and a lot of it is destroyed. But still, there are good microflora in the soil. So what we have to do is by quorum sensing and giving something, so we have created a soil rejuvenator, which is a mix of a prebiotic and a probiotic. And these together form a symbiotic. So what this does is it tries to rejuvenate the natural microbes of the soil. Next please. Next. Next please. I mean, I would have loved to discuss all this, but I'll quickly, okay, please bear with me. So what is happening here on the right, the green ticks are the EU bacteria. EU means good, right? And the red crosses are the dysbiotics or dysbiota or the dys bacteria, which are the bad ones. So you actually want the green ticks to come up and the red crosses to go down. And this is what we were able to achieve. Next please. So we can increase the yield by 20% and save 50% chemical fertilizers just by giving the soil symbiotics, which make the dormant eubacteria lying in the soil for 50-100 years to revive. Microbes are very resilient. They revive. If you give them the right environment, the right nutritional choices, they will revive. Next, please. So you can see on the left is the control, on the right is the result. 5.1 versus 7.4 feet. Again on the left is the control, on the right is wheat productivity. You can see the difference. Next, please. Again, the left is the treated and the right is the control. So on the left you can see many rhizomes. And this is our research lab in Nagpur. There is a very eminent professor, Dr. Hemant Purohit, who was a senior professor in NIRI, and he is heading this lab. So this is a nanopore technology by which we are able to take and sequence clades and create clades and phylogenetic trees. So millions of, so huge amounts of sequencing we can do, and we have the entire phylogenetic tree mapped. So we have created a map, area by area, region by region, and it's very effective because you then know how to do what remedy for which part of that district or the village. It can go that specific. Next, please. I'm finishing. This is the last slide. Again, you have heard this before. Krishim vina na jivanti jivaha sarve pranashyati tasmat krishim prayatnena kurvita sukha sanyutah. This is from Krishi Parashar. So Rishi Parashar, who has written the Brihad Parashara Hora Shastra, Jyotish, he has also written this. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, all of you, and KJ Sabaya College for arranging this wonderful workshop and hackathon, I would say. So as Dr. Vishal have already explained you the technologies, I wanted to give you 2-3 impact factors what it have created a change with these technologies. So starting with first is that is Bhuvision or soil testing. So approximately more than 1800 plus devices on the ground globally, and out of these we have covered more than 2.5 lakh days per day that is serving to our farmers. So that is one. Then secondly, with respect to the what we are doing in hydroponics, I think by now we have covered more than 2 lakh of square foot of area under hydroponics, and we are going with the lot of new varieties like which are bringing into the India, like Indo-Japan collaboration with High Media. So where he have mentioned that we have very good bricks values, and we are bringing the if you see the agriculture, the name itself says that it is culture. We have treated agriculture as a culture for so very long period of time with 100 crore of population.